This is Matt Russell, and welcome to the DailyFX forums.
Hello and welcome to the DailyFX Forum Highlights video for December 15th. Just scrolling through the forums tonight here on the scalping and intraday trading thread, a post by Brad1199 that I wanted to highlight. First, some kind words for my videos. I want to thank you very much. Personally, I get ill when I listen to myself speak, so it's nice to see that somebody at least is listening to me out there. And I wanted to go ahead and read some of his post here. Here's an update to my euro-dollar short trade that is still running. I've been short from the euro from 148.25 since the uptrend line gave way. And again, Brad has been spot on this, and as soon as that did occur, he did update us on the DailyFX forums here. And he's I still have 2/3 of the position of the short. He covered it at 1/3 of the position for a 225 pip gain, and he still has 2/3 of it running from 48.25 with stops at break even. I'm now in a free trade position, having removed all risk of loss on the remaining open positions, and obviously that's a great place to be in as a trader, and I want to speak about the logic here in Brad's trading, and this is a sign of an experienced trader, because Brad has been mentioning that there's a certain possibility, or a definite possibility, that prices bounce now, particularly off 145.75 Fibonacci support, as he has been calling for, and that is what has occurred, at least over the past several sessions. Now he feels that it's the risk is the reward to hold on to the position now, just in case prices do accelerate the sell-off from this point. And I would agree with him, agree with his logic. And again, it's a sign of an experienced trader, because he knows he's fully prepared for prices to come back and stop him out where he entered the trade at 48.25, and he still has those 225 pips that he made on 1/3 of the position. And again, you have to keep these things in your mind. You have to be, cognizant of the fact that anything can and will happen in trading. And this reminds me of the trade that I entered here. And the euro broke above that 160, and this was July of 2008. The euro broke above 160, left behind a doji candle. I got short. I almost top ticked this thing. I shorted the pair. I covered way too early, and I covered, I believe, at about down here about one, as prices took out this low here, about one. Actually, I covered at this low here around 52.80, and then prices obviously were declining past that point. But I was expecting prices to come back and test that 52.80 level, and we can see that they never did. And prices continued to fall, and I ended up giving back a huge portion of my gains, almost all of my gains in that short trade, waiting for prices to come back up. And again, it's one of those things that obviously we can learn in trading, is that we always want to feel that we're in a linear path and not stuck in a circle. And I see this all the time in terms of clients coming in and asking questions, wanting the next hot recommendation, if you will. And even if that recommendation works out, they are still stuck in that circle of their analysis, and that analysis is not going to get them anywhere. You obviously want to be on a linear path, and to get out of that circle, you have to be honest with yourself, and you have to be honest with your trading. You have to look at your trades, see what you've done wrong, see what you've done right, make sure you're not hoping. And being on that linear path could mean, taking 10 consecutive losses. But as long as those losses are small and they're within your risk parameters, again, you're on that path. And this is the only path to success in trading. You have to get off that circle and on to this linear path. And again, forgive me for this very simple basic representation of circles and straight lines. Again, my name is Matt Russell. Thank you for listening, and please stay tuned for a preview of the DailyFX. I want to take this opportunity to formally welcome you all to the DailyFX forums. I want to go through the process of how I personally access the forums, and how maybe you at home, if you want to access the forums in the future, might do so. The first thing you would do is go to www.dailyfx.com, and that will bring up, obviously, dailyfx.com. And usually there on the upper right hand corner, I'll go ahead and click on where it says forum, and that will bring up the first page of the forums. And this view, I personally don't use this view, but this view actually shows you the most recent posts on all the threads within the different sections, and a little detail about those posts, so you can read through and see if there's something catches your interest. But but personally I go ahead and just click on forums and view them in the more traditional sense. Now these are different threads within the forum. There's a section on education such as DailyFX course instructor tips, which would be good for newer traders, and then for more advanced traders. And I just want to go ahead, personally the way I use the forums is I would go through the individual threads, just looking for trade ideas, maybe looking at charts, looking at certain lines that maybe I didn't put up on my chart, but another trader might have put up on their chart. I tend to shy away from using direct trade recommendations from other forum members, but it helps me to sort of even out my analysis, make sure that I'm seeing things with the right mind in terms of I might be missing stuff that other traders can see, and that's my personal way of using the forum. Every trader is going to be a little bit different in how they use it. So if you want to ask questions, if you want to become an active participant of the members, you would have to go ahead and register. So that's what I'm going to go through now, is the registration process. So assuming you're brand new to the forums, or maybe you've been here a few times and you're not really sure how it works, so I just want to walk through again the registration process. This would be the front page where you would access, or the previous page. You'd have the same little box here on the left hand side. My username and password are already filled out here, but assuming you're a new member, you would click on where it says register, and that will bring up the registration page. If you give me one moment here while my browser loads. And actually first we're going to have some terms of service and DailyFX forum rules. I do suggest reading through the forum rules. Obviously, profanity and spam and things like that are not allowed, but it also gives you insight on how to use the forum and how different traders can use it, in terms of their individual needs. So you would go down to the bottom there. You'd click on where it says I have read all the rules, and then you would go ahead to the register, the formal registration page, and that will bring up here. And you can go ahead and select the username, and how about we'll use 4x, and that name is already in use, so maybe add a few more x's there. Again, it really, your individual username is up to you, and you go ahead and fill in your password, your email address. Now the most difficult aspect of registration for the DailyFX forums will be figuring out these letters in the box here. Now I'm a semi-intelligent person, but I have a very difficult time figuring out which letters and numbers to use. Now there is a reason for this madness. It helps with security, but I would suggest just going ahead and keep on clicking that refresh image until something comes through that you can actually identify and see. Then you can go ahead and enter your birthday, but you can decide whether or not to display that to other forum members. And then also, if you were referred by somebody, you can enter that information there. The time zone, that should default to your computer, but you should double check and make sure. And then you can opt in, and I would suggest opting in for these emails in terms if the administrators want to go ahead and send you some notices about the forum, and then you would complete registration. Now what happens is they would send you an email to the email address that you put up here, and that email will include a link, and all you would have to do is go ahead and click on that link, and that link will bring you inside the forum, and you would now be a member of the DailyFX forums. Again, this is Matt Russell. Thanks for listening.